Good morning, everyone. Kris here with Inspired Energy on a hopefully sunny day. Been hoping and praying for some sunshine these days. So, Hartwell, good morning.
Good morning, Kris.
Yes.
Good morning,
So,
all.
this morning you chose the topic of the G Center. So, to start off, you said that there was a story behind the G Center and you wanted to share that. So, could you share that little story with us this morning?
Yes. In the beginning, the magnetic monopole and the design crystal were one.
That sounds like in the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
The magnetic monopole and the design crystal were one. And when they came into the baby in the mom's womb, they migrated away from each other. The design crystal migrated up to the Ajna center, and the magnetic monopole took up its place in the G center. And from that point on, we felt we were subject to the illusion of separation from the divine. And as a result, we always have this longing to return for the two parts of ourselves to be back together again.
Drop the head into the heart. Just came to me as you were saying.
The ajna
right?
into the heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of a fun parallel for sure.
Yeah, it is.
So you might not have heard the term magnetic monopole before. When the person who had the revelation about human design, Ra Uru, when the voice talked to him about human design, it said there was this thing called a magnetic monopole, which means a magnet with only one pole. So when we think of magnets, we think of, two poles, right? And we played together with their kids. And if you put one together, they repel each other. But a magnetic monopole only attracts. That's all it does. And when he brought this idea forward, I don't think that the concept of the magnetic monopole had been proven by science, and yet it has been since.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what exactly does it do? What exactly is the purpose of the magnetic monopole?
It is it directs us along our life path. It makes it so that we can never get off track. It connects us up with the geometry of the universe, which knows what it's doing. And so the magnetic monopole in us keeps us to a trajectory that is right for us. Yeah, that's what it does.
Far better than we do sometimes, probably.
Well, it's the boss.
Yeah.
It really is the boss. I mean, you could say that it keeps the universe together, and that the universe is only about love, only about beauty, because that's all it attracts. So at the fundamental level of ourselves, there is only the attraction. There is only that which magnetizes love.
That's interesting because this also ties in with the law of attraction. So if you have this magnetic monopole in you that only attracts love and beauty, or what you're thinking about, what you're paying the most attention to, then it makes sense that that's there, right? Like it kind of ties the two together. So does it have something to do, the G Center, with your destiny? Like, how we talk about our destiny and purpose and...
Well, the G Center is about love, and it's about direction. And it's very mysterious because the G Center has 8 gates, okay? And 8 of those gates line up exactly with the summer solstices and the equinoxes. So that's 4 of them. And then the other dates, and that's the cross of the vessel of love. So the spring and fall equinox, the summer and winter solstice are the gates, 4 of the gates of the G center.
Wow.
And the other 4 gates, the gates of purpose and direction, they are the gates of the other, we've had ceremonies and ritual times, those other gates too, there, and it's called the cross of the Sphinx.
Oh.
So Groundhog's Day, May Day, Lamas, Lugnasad, which is the same thing, and Halloween. Those are roughly in alignment with the other 4 gates.
Awesome. So we can either be defined or undefined in centers. So how does the G center being defined or undefined play out in our human relationships?
Well, seeing as the G center has to do with love and direction, people who have a defined have a fixed sense of identity. They have the sense that they know who they are, they know what they're about, and there's this inbuilt sense of there is this steady and reliable sense of, you could call it self-love or sense of I know who I am.
Confidence.
But interestingly, the defined G and the undefined G often attract each other.
Oh.
So the defined G is attracted to the undefined G because we all like to have somebody mirror our sense of self. So the G center is a bit narcissistic in that way. If it's defined, then it's going to be attracted to somebody who mirrors it. And of course, a person who's undefined is going to, on some level, mirror their partner who is defined. Now, that might sound really horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, I don't want to lose my sense of identity. It's like, there is more to you. There's more to each of us than would be suggested by the comment that I just made. Because remember, we have strategy and authority. And you're not meant to, even if you're an undefined in the G, it means that you are going to become very intelligent about whose direction you like and whose you don't. You're going to try many different directions in life. And in fact, people will always be offering you directions. They'll always be offering you directions, and they'll say, hey, you need a real estate agent? I have somebody to suggest to you. And that's how an undefined G center can have everybody else do the work for them. And then your friends bring you all these directions. And then you say, oh, thank you for these directions. And you check them out and you find which work and which don't.
So then it comes down to discernment.
Yeah.
Because having an undefined G center can be a little bit overwhelming when you're presented with so many opportunities.
Sure. Like any undefined center, it can bring in a lot of information. You might ask, well, I'm not defined in the G. Does that mean I have no purpose? Well, you have a magnetic monopole, whether you're defined or not, and it is going to be ushering you along the path of your own particular destiny, just as well as somebody who is defined. It's just that your relationship with identity will be different. You're a person who's undefined is a fluid being in terms of that sense of themselves.
So what does it look like when there's 2 people that are undefined in the G center? What does that relationship look like? Because you spoke about 2 people both being defined and then the defined and the undefined. What if there's 2 people that are both undefined? Is that like chaos?
Well, I didn't speak to 2 people being defined. I only spoke about the defined and the undefined in relationship to each other. Well, I mean, one thing to look at would be, do they have anything defined together? So do they have electromagnetic connection where one person has half the channel and the other person has the other half? So that could likely be a reason for them to be being drawn together. So you'd have to look at it, but it's probably not likely that you would end up in a long-term relationship with two undefined people if they didn't have an electromagnetic connection that defined the G center.
Yeah. Good morning, Christine. You're ever so faithful watching us. Thank you. So
is that our Christine?
That's our Christine. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So speaking about love, what does human design have to say about the different kinds of love that there is?
This statement I found very intriguing. Well, we can talk about the generic love of the universe for us, that holds us along our trajectory, that in a sense make sure that we are all part of the pattern of life, the love and the universal love that exists behind everything. That is more about the underlying pattern of life, being part of the grand design of life, and that love is for all of us, and it's always present. And then there's what we call sexual love, sexual emotional love, which is rooted in the solar plexus. It's rooted in the emotional side of our beings. And then you could talk about electromagnetic love, the love that draws us or magnetizes us together, which arises from the electromagnetic connections we make, which means one person having half of a channel and the other person having the other half. There's this love, this zap, this connection that occurs from that.
We also just have Linda Ray joining us. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for joining us this morning. So what are the gates of the G Center? Maybe you can go through those and explain what each of those are.
Yes. Well, let's look at the gates of love first, which is, you remember, in are all part of the cross of the vessel of love, the incarnation crosses, that we all have an incarnation cross, and these gates all align with the equinoxes and solstices. So we have the gate of modesty, for instance, which is also called the gate of extremes. This is the love of humanity. It's about embracing different rhythms and extremes of behavior. So it's about loving the diversity that exists within human expression. And it's linked up, I believe, with summer solstice. Then we have the gate 10, which is the gate of the love of the self. And that is the love of being oneself, the pure love of oneself. Gate 25, the gate of innocence, is the spring equinox, and it's universal love. It's the love that it's kind of a universal love, a love that in some ways is not personal, but is like universally accepting.
Yeah, it says here, maintaining innocence despite circumstances. I love that. It's just fun and play and just the love of being alive, right?
Yeah, and there was this other expression that I saw for it too, which I quite liked, which is the ability to love existence without discrimination. That is unconditionally.
Yep.
And gate 46 is the love of the body. So those are the 4 gates of love. And then the 4 gates that are part of the cross of the Sphinx, which have to do with direction, are gate 1, which is the gate of self-expression. And it's our capacity for creativity. It's our place in the now. It's about being present to what is here. Gate 13, the gate of the listener, is all about the direction or directing by looking back. So it's about integrating or listening to the wisdom of the past as part of our journey towards the future. Whereas gate 7, the gate of the army, or the gate of the role of the self in interaction, big mouthful there, it's about the direction or directing by looking forward, by looking to the future. So the 13 looks to the past for direction, the future, and gate 7, the other, looks to the future. And then there's gate number 2, the gate of the receptive, which is direction pure and simple, the vision of our purpose. The vision of our purpose. So it is the most purely and obviously directing of all of the gates. Gate 2.
Yeah. Wow. There sure is a lot there, right?
I'm just so surprised our time together goes so quickly.
Yeah, it does go quickly, right? And something interesting you put at the bottom here is love is the force that holds the universe together. So when people are always talking about love is all there is, that's really true. Like that at the end of the day, love is all that matters. It's all that creates, destroys, like whatever it is, it's love. Right?
And it is the one thing that is truly attractive. It's what holds it together, attracts it together.
Magnetizes
wouldn't it be interesting if gravity somehow was related to love? I mean, gravity is still a mystery.
Yeah, that would be interesting journey to embark upon. So is there anything that you would like to say more about the G Center before we let everybody go today?
Well, you might remember from past classes, we indicated that another way to talk about the G Centers is call it the higher self. But for those of you who don't have who have undefined G's, know that you are amplifying, tasting, experiencing all the directions of life. You don't have a bias. So in a sense, you're not fixed to one way of being when it comes to the expression of love or direction. You have the ability to feel every one of those because you amplify them when you meet with them in your environments.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So I guess that's it for us today. Do we have a topic for next week?
Well, I think we've done all of the senders but 2 now. So there is, I'd have to check. Maybe it's the throat. But I think we still have the head to do too, which only has 3 gates. But I will check that.
Okay.
So it's one of those 2.
One of those 2 for next week. So with that, we're going to sign off. If at any time you need to go more in depth into your own chart, or you are new to this and would like to explore human design, you can give us a call here, 587-596-3333, and book an appointment with Hartwell. And he also goes into consultation sessions and helps you go deeper into your chart so that you can use it and integrate it into your way of being and your way of life to live your design and your fullest potential that God created you to be. So with that, God bless. We love you all, and we will see you next Wednesday at 9. Bye.
Bye-bye all.